Hello and welcome to the Beginner's Tatting video series, first ever Tat-along. The way the Tat-alongs are going to work, they are going to be a pattern that either designed by me or someone else that has requested me to do a Tat-along, and there'll be many more. I hope you enjoy this. What this is going to do is show you how far you have come in your tatting endeavors. So with that in mind, I have one request that someone had asked me yesterday in class. What kind of magnifiers do you use? When you're working with tatting threads that are super small, like the size 20 and below to 100, even if you have good eyes, invest in a good pair of magnifiers. You don't want to lose your eyesight. So I told her, I says, I wear headgear sometimes, and then I have others. Now, this is the headgear that I wear. This fits around your forehead and clips on. And then you can adjust however you want it to go. Okay, this works great for people that wear glasses, because then they don't have to mess with on and off with magnifying glasses. So it works great. Alright, you can get them at most craft stores. They're a little expensive, like $29, but you get several lenses with them, and they just slide in and out of this case. Okay, they slide up and down. These have been in here forever, and you clean them with a soft cloth, soap and water. Okay, I've had these for probably about 15-20 years. They're about shot, but they still work, and if they still work, I don't get rid of them. And you can adjust them and tighten these little things down on the side to make sure that they don't move. But they're good, and they're put out by Magnifiers. Then I also have, let me put those up. I also have this. This is a clip-on magnifier, if you do wear glasses, that is adjustable. Okay, just so you can angle it whatever way you want it to go. It works with bifocals. It comes in a nice little case. It's put out by Daylight, and it has, same deal, several different lenses in here. And it's about $16.99 for the kit. But it's nice. When I travel, I take this instead of the big magnifier, and that way I can keep all of this in the case and it doesn't get damaged. I also use this when I'm crafting in low light, so that I can adjust the lighting to however, you know, I want it to go. I also have my favorite, my third hand. Now, I got this many moons ago, back when I used to do beaded jewelry. I did a peyote stitch, brick stitch, herringbone stitch, hand-sewed jewelry. And this was a lifesaver. I could adjust this however I wanted it, lock it down, and I could work like this. Okay? And it gave me the vision I needed. Alright? It also comes with other little doodads that you can attach. These are alligator clips. You just clip whatever it is you want in there, and it hangs on there, and it comes with all the attachments. I don't even know how much I paid for this. Couldn't have been more than $20-25 for the whole setup. But it's weighted, so you can set it, and if you hit it, it's not going nowhere. It's pretty stable. Just don't let light shine down through it. It does fry ants, as my grandchildren found out. You can also get magnifying glasses if you don't wear glasses. Just a magnifier at the dollar store for a couple of dollars. But save your eyesight, because without it you can't do much of anything. Now, on with the Tat-along. I started to do a video using the actual size thread for the pattern we're going to do, And as you can see, you can't see that very well, and it doesn't matter what color. I've tried it in both sizes thread, and you just cannot pick it up on camera. So what I've done to make it easier is I loaded my Tatsy shuttles with a size 3 crochet cotton, and I'm going to do the pattern using the Tatsy shuttle so you can walk through and see what I'm doing. And when we come to the actual ending of everything, then I'll show you how to load it onto your earrings. I already have done this one. I did it on just a basic earring hoop. I will give you pointers on how to make it stay on the hoop. And we also have what the pattern calls for, these kind. And I'm going to show you how to get the pattern on the earring. Okay? But the way I'm going to show you how to do it, I'm going to cut a piece of ring, wire ring, that is big enough to accommodate the size 3, so you can actually get up close and personal and see what it is I'm doing. Okay, so gather up your supplies. What you're going to need are these 30mm earring hoops. They look like this. Let me zoom in on this so you can see what I'm working with here. Okay, and let me see this one here. Alright, they come 2 ways. One that doesn't open and one that does. You want the ones that open. Okay, I made these open because I can't find them. I live in a small hick town. We've got one store you can buy supplies at, and very limited supplies at that. So everything I get I have to order online, but it's the same principle. They unlock from the back side. With these, I made this work for me. I have the tools to make it work, and you just unclip it, okay, and that's what you want. The pattern is a very simple pattern. Carolyn Groves designed this pattern for Georgia Seats 52 earring project, and the pattern, I'll have a link down below the video for you to download this. I want you to download the pattern. It comes with 3 patterns. There are 3 patterns on this, so you're getting 3 times the bang for your buck here. Carolyn did a wonderful job. They're beautiful earrings, okay? My printer only prints in black and white, so you really can't see the detail. But when you print out the entire pattern. It's going to be 2 pages. I want you to take a look at this legend down here at the bottom. Read that. That will give you the descriptions of what her little marks and notes mean. And she's also been very diligent to give us these descriptions of different findings. Everybody asks what a finding is. A finding is what you do to the end of your jewelry to finish it out. Okay? Findings can be little things that enhance the jewelry. Okay? So that's basically what a finding is. And what she's using for this pattern is a 30mm beading hoop with O-ring. It's the one that opens up. Okay? The store I have available to me only had this one. So, and you're going to need a fish hook wire, or you can even use a post. Make sure it's got a little hole down there to put a jump ring in to attach your earring piece to. Okay, so get your supplies together and come back and we'll get started on reading the pattern and walking through. Alright, that'll pick up in the very next video. So until then, see you in a few. I hope you've printed out your pattern so that we can get started and gathered your base materials according to the pattern. The pattern we're making is the crescent moon earrings. Now you can use size 12 Perle Cotton, which is put out by DMC, or number 20 cotton thread. The DMC Perle Cotton is this, in size 12. It's, in my opinion, a little floppy. When I make a pair of earrings, I want it to be a little stiff so it holds its shape. So for me, it's not my preference, but for you, you might like it. Now we also have the size 20 Elizabeth thread that I did this one with. And don't get me wrong, it's a good thread and everything. It's just, it's not one that'll show up on camera very good. So I want you to be able to see what you're doing and how to do it and achieve what you need to achieve. What I'm using here for my earring hoop is a piece of memory wire that I've cut off so that I could show you how to thread it on your earrings, okay? And then I'll show you on these as well as these how to get them on. But you need to see the close-up with the bigger thread and the beads to see how it goes on the ring, so that way you understand how you're working with it on this smaller one. Alright, you also need your earring hoops, your earring wires if you're using this kind of hoop, okay? If you're going to use this kind, you don't need the fish hook wire, okay? You can choose to use a jump ring with this as well on the fish hook if you want. I tend to, when I make earrings, I just open up the fish hook here at the bottom and put whatever I've made on the fish hook itself and close it up. Makes it lay nicer. Okay, so there's the gist of it all. Let's get started. The pattern doesn't tell you what size seed beads to use. The 11-aughts work the best with size 20 and size 12 both. They're a very teeny small seed bead. You can get smaller. My advice to you is get you some beading needles, either the big eye needles or the twisted wire beading needles. With the smaller seed beads, the twisted wire beading needles work best. The beading needles, the big eye ones, I have them in my little extra tatting needle case. They tend to get hung up sometimes in these, so you're just sort of like picking through your beads. Whereas the twisted wire ones, you can scoop up a whole bunch of beads at once on the wire and just pull them down because it collapses to fit through the bead. The floss threaders, they have a difficult time with 11-aughts. The shank of the floss threader down here is a little thick and it just doesn't want to go through the 11-aught seed beads. So these are check glass beads. I think they're $2.99 for a tube this big. Okay, this has 18 grams of beads in it. You can go and invest and get the Mayukis. If it's a pair of earrings and you're using sterling silver or 14 karat gold, you want to invest in the better bead, and Mayukis are more uniform in shape. They fit together better, and the core where the hole is drilled is even. So they're expensive, I won't lie to you. For a half a gram, they're like $6.99. And it's a little teeny box of seed beads. You get maybe 250 in it. So, and they're very small. They're a lot smaller than these. So definitely get you some big eye needles or some twisted wire beading needles, so you can thread it onto your thread easier and not sit there and say bad things while you're getting upset because it's just not working right. Today I'm going to use the size 3 crochet cotton thread, and I've got some really huge seed beads on this thread so that you can see how these beads are going to lay on the picot, because each picot is going to get 3 beads. So that's the gist of it. So when you go to fill your shuttle, put the beads on your thread first and slide them down to the ball. This pattern is 1 shuttle and a ball of thread. Okay? That is for the first earring. And I'm going to give you a little hint here when you're doing the second earring, because it needs to be continuous thread method. Wrap you enough thread on your shuttle for the first go around and put all your beads on this 1 shuttle for the first go around, okay? So that when you finish the first earring, you can take and pull off from this shuttle and wrap another shuttle, okay? Wind another one with thread on here, and then you continuous thread method. Saves you from having to tie in your ends, because once you cut it from the ball, you've got to tie your ends in, because you have to have a continuous thread because you're doing rings and chains, and you don't want those ends to tie in. So remember, once you do your first earring, have enough thread on this first shuttle that you can do both earrings. Okay? And for precaution's sake, fill your shuttle. These are very small. Probably doesn't take more than a couple of yards of thread. So I would wrap a full shuttle, okay, and put my beads on it with the continuous thread. Then after you've done your first earring, grab you another shuttle, pull from here, and fill the other shuttle. That way you're still continuous thread and you don't have those ends to tie in. Alright? So that is something that is a big helper, because the last thing you want is a bunch of thread ends to tie in on a pair of earrings, because you don't have much room to work. Okay? So, given that, we're going to start this pattern. Now we've got our shuttle loaded. We've got our beads on the shuttle. And what I do is I pull my beads in and wrap 3, maybe 4 times around before I even start making my elements. That way it locks those in and keeps them out of your way, at least till you can get through your first element. Alright, now here's our pattern. It's put out by Carolyn Groves, and her email is on the pattern, and she's telling you all 3 how to do. The first one, it says ring of 1, picot, 2, and then a little arrow up. That arrow up, if we go to our legend, means slide 3 beads up. You see it? See the arrow? It says arrow up equals slide 3 beads. Follow this legend when you get those little funny marks. That way you'll know what it means. And most patterns come that way. So we've got a ring that's 1, picot, 2 with 3 beads up, 2, picot, 2. Definitely have your picot gauge ready, okay, because you want everything to fit perfect. You're making a pair of earrings. Who knows, for yourself or for a gift. Okay, so here we go. We need 3 beads on this ring. So let's get down to where our beads are. There we go. Pull 3 beads down. Okay. Slide them down. Re-wrap our shuttle. Now you're going to do a lot of that anytime you're putting beads in a project. You're going to do a lot of this wrap and unwrap on your shuttle. It's fine. It's not going to wear your thread out. Might wear your hands out, but not your thread. Okay. Now, we've got our beads down. Pull them down. And we're going to make a ring. Alright? Here we go. What I do is I take those beads, see them? Slide them past that first knuckle of my finger. Working with seed beads is a lot easier to do this. Slide it past that first knuckle on our finger. Make our loop for our ring. Okay? Once we've got our loop set, pull it down past the pinky. That way they're good and out of our way. Alright? Now we're going to do ring of 1 picot 2. Okay, so we're going to do our first double stitch. And we're going to put a picot in. Now this picot here, okay, is going to connect to our earring. So what we want to do is make sure it's big enough to go around the earring wire. Okay, so we're going to come in and we're going to use the second notch on our picot gauge. If you don't have a picot gauge, you can make them out of just about anything. Okay, now we're going to do 2 double stitches after that. Okay, and then we're going to pull that picot gauge out and pull it close up. So there's our picot. Okay, can you see that? There's our picot and our double stitches. Now let me zoom in so you can see what I'm going to do with these beads. Alright, we want to open our ring up. Okay, you see them beads on my hand? We want to grab those beads and pull them around. Alright, get them down there. See? Snug them up. Now, hold those beads in the pinch. Now, I have a difficult time because I'm working with big beads and big threads. So I'm going to hold my beads so that they don't flip around into the ring. And I'm going to do the first half of the next double stitch. Okay? Now, here's what you're going to do. Because you're working with smaller thread, grab a crochet hook if your tatting shuttle does not have one. See that center bead? Pull it up. You're going to play with it and get it up there. I can do these with my finger, but I wanted to show you. Pull that center bead up because these 2 beads here need to lay side by side with this one on top. Okay? Now with the bigger thread I can do this, but because you're working with the smaller threads, you can't. So, and just play with it till you get them laying just like they're supposed to. And that's what they should look like. Okay, like a little triangle. Can you see that? You've got the bead on top and the 2 beads side by side. That's what you want. Alright, and then you do the second half of that double stitch. Okay, now you pull it over and tighten it up. And you have your beaded picot. I know that looks out of proportion and everything, but it's the only way I can get it in camera so that you can see what it's supposed to look like. Okay? Now, we've got our first double stitch after the beads, and we've got one more to do. Okay? Now we're coming into another picot. Okay? So we're going to grab our picot gauge. This one is a joining picot because the next ring is going to join to that picot. So we want to step down a little bit in size on that picot because we want our rings to snug up against each other. And we're going to put in 2 more double stitches. Alright, take our picot gauge out and snug everything up. Alright, now before we close our ring, take our little hook and pull on our picots, okay, to get them straight. Alright, now let's close our ring. Here we go. We're going to close it, close it, close it, close it. Keep closing it until our ring is closed. And there is our ring, okay, with our beads. Get it in shot. Alright, turn around. There you go. You've got all 3 beads with your ring. Your joining picots over here, and this picot right here is the one that's going to go on our earring. Okay? So now, reverse our work, and we're going to do a chain. Okay? Here we go. On the pattern, the chain is chain 1, picot 1. Okay, so that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, I'm going to do front side, back side because that's what I'm used to doing. But for a beginner, you do it normal, okay? Unless you know how to do the front side, back side, which if you do, great. Because it does look a lot better. So we've got our 1 double stitch. Now this picot is going to fit on our ring, so we want it the 2nd notch. So we want to give ourselves plenty of room. Okay? And there we go. We've got our picot and our 2 double stitches. Now we're going to reverse our work again. And we're going to do the very next ring. And right here, it's 3 double stitches. Get it up here so you can see. We've got 3 double stitches and a joining picot. So, and it's a ring. That ring also has, what? 3 beads. Let me pull out my beads. Like I said, you do a lot of this rolling back and forth. That's fine. It's not going to wear out your thread. It just wears you out. But on the smaller thread, that one earring took me maybe 5 minutes to do. Working with the bigger thread, it takes a little longer. And the bigger shuttles. And you, like I say, you really don't need a lot of thread, but make sure you wind enough on your shuttle for both earrings. And use that little trick because it'll save you from having to tie in those ends. Okay, now we're making our loop, okay? And we're going to do 3 double stitches and then a joining picot. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're going to join. Remember that little picot right there? See it? See that little picot? That's where we're going to join. Stick our crochet hook in. Pull it through. Make sure you don't split the ply on your thread. And we do an up join. Pull it up snug. Okay, we got our first joining. And then we're going to do 2 more double stitches and then bring up those beads. So 1, 2. So let's pull our loop out just a little. Bring those beads up. Okay. hold them beads in your hand, in your pinch, and do the first half of that next stitch. Get them beads lined up, okay? That bead just wants to be a precocious little one. There we go. Now, pull that center bead, and as you're pulling that center bead, pull that stitch in. That way you can get a good, tight picot with beads on it. Okay? If you can get to the rhythm of pulling that center bead up, at the same time you're tightening your stitch in, it'll give you a much tighter picot, beaded picot, okay? And then you're ready for your next, okay? See that? So we've got our first stitch in. We got one more to do. And then we get another joining picot for the next ring, which is our second notch. No, our first notch, excuse me. Pull it in, and we're going to do 3 double stitches. It's 2 and 3. Okay. And as you can see, the pattern's working itself right on in like it's supposed to. You're going to close that ring. See? And your rings are starting to stagger larger. And the pattern, if you look through it, read your pattern before you even start it, you'll see it gets bigger as it goes. And when you're done putting this pattern together, it's going to look just like this. So you really can't get a good shot of that. Let me see, maybe that way. Get it over here a little bit. That's what it's going to look like, a crescent moon. See? You see these little loops here? That's our picots that fit on our earring wire. So see? Now we can continue on. Alright, we finished that second ring. We're going to do the third ring. Our third... No, we're not doing third ring. We're going to do a chain. And it's a chain of 2 picot 2. Okay, so we're going to do 1, 2, and because this picot is going to be put on our ring, we need our picot gauge to be on the second notch because we need it big enough to fit on that ring. Okay, we got our picot in, close it up. We're ready to go on to the next ring. Excuse me. And you just continue on following the pattern. I'm not going to continue with this bigger thread, but you see the gist of how to do it. Now, I'm going to take and show you real quick how you thread this on here. And it's real easy if you get your picots correct. Okay, now you can see, all right, all our picots here, these 3 right here, that's what you're going to thread on your earring. And what you're going to do is take it in that one, out that one, in the next one, okay? And as you go around, it'll get snugger. I guess that's the word. A little tighter to do. That's why you want to leave plenty of room. And working with this memory wire is no fun. This stuff's stiff. Okay. Had it. It slipped right out. When you do your earring, it won't do that. Okay. And you just weave it back and forth on your earring, and then you bring it down. So say this was the top of the earring, that first ring sits up here, okay, and your tails will be down here. Now at this point, well, I got that backwards, should sit like this so that your tails come to the top of the earring. Alright, say this is our earring piece. This is the top piece. When you put your tatted piece on here, bring it around to where your tails come out up here. Okay? And you see that little hole down here at the bottom? That's where you're going to tie your tails to. And on the back side, you'll make a little knot, and you can put some glue there. Some people use E6000. I use, it's called GS Hypo Cement glue. Here it is. This is for jewelry and beading. It's got pinpoint precision. It's not like the E6000. E6000, here we go. You see the difference? It's got a huge opening up here where you're, if I can get it to open for me. Let me see if I got one that'll open easier. Usually after a while they tend to aggravate me and not want to open. Okay, you see how big that opening is? That's going to leave a big glob of glue. But it's a good glue. Now, don't get me wrong, it's really good glue. This also is a good glue, but it's a precision. You see the point on that? You see how small that is? When you hit that, it's no bigger than a pinhead, okay? When you hit that on the back of that earring, where your threads are, they're there forever, and they ain't coming off. The E6000, with some metals, it will peel off, okay, over time. The GS Hypo Cement, that's what they use at jewelers. And you can get that at most craft stores. But the jewelers use this for stone setting and things like that. Not the diamonds or anything, but your gemstones. That's what they use, is GS Hypo Cement. It's like $5.99 for a tube, but it lasts forever. Because a little drop does it. Don't get this stuff on your fingers. It sticks worse than crazy glue ever thought about sticking. And when you peel, if you get it stuck on your fingers and you peel it off, you're taking off a couple of layers of skin. So, at least with crazy glue, you can use nail polish remover and get it off. This stuff, nail polish remover don't take it off. So, be careful when using it. Make sure you have a well-ventilated area if you have breathing problems. The fumes on this is not real strong, okay, for me, but someone that has breathing problems, be sure to have it well-ventilated. I turn on a floor fan when I'm working with my resin, and I have it pointed away from me so it pulls the fumes away from me. And that's something you can do, a little personal fan, anything like that to pull the fumes away from you. Both of these are quality glues, and they both work with jewelry. But to attach right here, I would go with something that has a more precision point to it, so that when you glue it down, you ain't got a huge mess on the back. And then after it's dried, snip your ends. So that's how you finish off using these type of wires. Now, to excuse the little mark on my arm here, my little doggy needs her toenails clipped, and she's got an appointment now if it'll just warm up so we can get her clipped, because she freezes to death. Now, to get this threaded on and everything situated, you see I've got it on my earring. This is on the hoop. Alright, and when you start threading, you see how I'm gently pulling it? I don't want to stretch my tatting. Okay, you're going to start to thread on your earring with this end, and you just take, these are some strange hoops. I don't even know where I got them, but I love them. all of the connector on it. When you start weaving that in, if you just take your time and do the earring backwards of the earring, it will make it easier to thread it on there. Okay, you see how I'm getting it? I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but you're just threading your picots on here, okay, that are on your chains. All this is the chain work. You just slide it down just a little bit, in and out, okay? Some of these will go easily, some won't. But as you go, just slip your thread around, okay? In and out, okay? That's all you have to do. See how it's working? And you catch all those little picots. Like I say, do it with the earring on this side and the tatting away. That way you can flip it over and adjust. Now, of course, this last little picot wants to fight me. Then we got it on there. Close up the earring. Alright, flip it around and adjust. Move it to where you have the half moon shape. Okay? Now if you're going to put them on ear wires like this, use the GS and put a spot of glue right here at the top, okay, to hold that thread. Go ahead and knot your thread. You could even take your thread and make another picot with it. Like, let me show you. I'll show you real quick here. If I can get this to cooperate. One thread to one side, one thread to the other side. And do either, let's do a square knot on that, okay? That way you can see what well, I don't want to tie a knot in it. Better not, because I've got to show you how to put it on these. Okay. What you could do is just do a little square knot here at the top. Okay? Hit it with a spot of that GS Hypo Cement, and it'll hold it in place for you. Okay? And your earring will be done as soon as that glue's dry. Snip off that extra thread, the earring is done. And you have your half moon. Now when you go to do your second earring, her instructions say on the second one you want to reverse your work. That means start here at the bottom and go up on the pattern. Okay? That way your earrings will look just like hers. Okay? You see, the pattern is reversed on each side. The work is reversed. The first earring goes down, the second earring goes up. Okay? So that makes it easier. Now I'm going to show you how to thread it on these other earrings. And that way you can see both ways it does work. And I've showed you how basically follow the pattern through. This is it's the same pattern, same connections all the way through. She's just added more double stitches to increase the sizes. Okay? It increases and then it'll go down and decrease in size. Okay? Can you see that? I'm trying to get a good shot, and this 20 thread doesn't like this at all. Okay, you see it starts with a small ring, and then it goes up, and then it starts coming back down to the last small ring. Okay, and that's your half moon. Now let me get the ear wire. This is the one. Now mind you, like I say, I can get things come apart. I've got the tools to make them come apart. be sure to buy the one that does open easier, because it just slides in and out just like this. Okay, just like these earrings. So, say you've got this. Alright, you want to thread it backwards to you. Okay, and you're going to start same thing. And you can move that piece out of your way. Okay, it's not going to hurt. You can reshape everything. And you just thread it on there. Can you all see what I'm doing here? You're just threading it on, back and forth, till you come through all those little picots. Okay? Slide it down. You see why I didn't want to do the whole pattern in the smaller thread on this video. I mean, this is ridiculously small. Okay, now we've got it. Okay, just flip it around. We're going to relatch our earring. Okay, push the back in, and we're going to adjust it. Now you see my tails are up here at the top. Once you get everything adjusted, pull your tails around, pull it up, and then what you're going to do is run them right through that little hole. Both tails. Okay? Once you run them through that hole, it'll pull that earring right up into shape. Okay? See? And then you tie your knot, hit it with your spot of glue, let it dry, come back and snip it. Okay? And see how these threads just lay down in there? I mean, it's not going to hurt to let them be part of the earring. Let them lay there. Glue them in. And then come back and snip. Just make sure you don't snip off your little ring up here to attach your earring wire. Okay? So there you go. Your half moon earrings. They're just as cute as they can be. And we owe Carolyn Groves a heap of thank yous for sharing this pattern with us. Like I said, down at the bottom of the video we'll have links to the pattern and all the information that you need. I hope you can do it. If you have any problems making these earrings, please, please, please ask your questions. I'll be more than happy to answer. Like I said, if I could go on and continue through, but as you can see, it's self-explanatory once you get past the second ring, and you can see how it's threaded on there. This is the first ring you do on the first earring, is the bottom down here. On the second earring, the last ring you do is on the bottom, because you're going to do the pattern down for the first earring, up for the second earring. So I hope you enjoyed it, and there'll be more tat-alongs. I don't really want to make a tat-along to where we go completely through a pattern unless you would like that, because most patterns are on a repeat. And I believe that a tat-along should hit the high points of the pattern, you know, at every change. So if you think I should continue on and do a completed pattern from start to finish and walk you all the way through it, make a notation in the comments section. If that's the way you want it, that's the way we'll do it. So until next time, happy tatting, and I hope you enjoyed this. And have a great day. Thank you so much.